Thanks, Ruth, for that great introduction. I just wish my mom were here to hear this. But seriously, thank you very much to Colonel Collins, to General, to all of the folks in the Army College Foundation, and all of the War College students who are here today. Thank you very much for this great honor. It's really a privilege and an honor. I actually feel very, very humbled to get this. I have been very fortunate to do a lot of things. As you could hear, way too many things. When you're getting introduced, you really don't like to hear all that kind of stuff, but means I've been around for a long time and I'm old. So in crafting these remarks, you know, I asked my wife what I should say and how I should be, and she said, don't try to be witty or intellectual or even funny. Okay, just be yourself. And I think she said, after that, don't screw this up. So I'll do my best to that. But you know, it's about results. Colonel Collins, when I talked to her, said, talk to the War College class and tell them, you know, about what life is like after the Army and what kind of things you've done. I don't have to recount them because you heard them all, unfortunately. Sorry about that. But it's all about results, okay, getting results. You're focused in the Army on getting results for your units, okay, getting results for your families, for your children, for all those kinds of things. Okay, and when you get out of the Army, when you go become a civilian, and you all will at some point, it's about results. And that reminds me of my favorite story, because they tell you when you're talking, if you can tell a story that helps reinforce that, it's good. So here's a story about results. It takes place in heaven, though, okay? St. Peter, okay, pearly gates, a line of people waiting to get in, okay? And the first guy up is a rough-looking guy, tattoos, scars, he's got all kinds of piercings. He looks like he's had a rough life. Apparently he's a taxi driver in New York City. He gets up there and St. Peter says, he looks at the thing, he says, okay, taxi driver, here you go. You're gonna get a golden robe, a golden staff, and you're gonna go to the best part of heaven. Have a great time. He moves out. The next guy behind him is a preacher. He's a preacher. 40 years he was a preacher, okay? So he gets up there and he watches the guy before him. He says, gosh, if that happens to him, I guess I should be in pretty good shape. But sure enough, St. Peter looks at the ledger and he gives him a cotton robe, a rope for a belt, and a wooden staff, and sends him to a part of heaven that apparently isn't the best. Well, the preacher, obviously noticing this, says, hey, St. Peter, what gives? The guy before me and now me, what's going on here? Okay, here's the catch. Results. St. Peter says it's all about results. Okay, he said when you were preaching for 40 years, people in the back rows were sleeping. But when that taxi driver was driving, the people in the back seats were praying. So, it's always good to have a little bit of humor, right? Yeah, come on. You have to, all right? But again, after the Army, I was blessed. I was very, very lucky. Okay, as the story goes, I was actually flipping through the channels looking for a sports channel. And who do I see on the TV? But the guy that would soon hire me to work for the great state of Florida, work in the Office of Drug Control, Jim McDonough, who's right here in the front row. Okay, happens to be an author of 3 books, okay, and a great guy, a great friend, and somebody I'd served with in the Army. So I was very, very lucky. But he allowed me the opportunity to get into state government, to work and do something where I could make a contribution. Because that's what you like, right? I mean, you do it in the Army, okay? And when you get out of the Army, you want to do the same thing. You want to make a difference, all right? You want to do something that you think's worthwhile. You get up in the morning, you look yourself in the mirror and say, hey, you know what? I like what I'm doing because I'm helping folks. I'm doing good things to help people. In this case, it was the great state of Florida. So I've got to thank Jim McDonough from the very beginning for giving me the opportunity, and his wife, Pat, who are here. Thank you very much, sir. He was a great mentor, and he's become a great friend to me, but I've got to tell you, if anybody has ever worked for somebody who's written 3 books, okay, try writing the first memo to that person, okay? I tell you what, it's intimidating. It's really intimidating. But I would tell you that again, getting out of the Army and having a life after that, you've already heard from a couple other, it's what it's all about. Theodore Roosevelt once said this. He said, The greatest opportunity that life holds, that life offers, is to work hard at work worth doing. I was lucky. I found work worth doing in the Office of Drug Control in the great state of Florida, working for Jim and some great people there and trying to make a difference. Again, I would remind everyone here that networking and mentors are important. It worked for me out of the Army. Hopefully it'll work for you as well. But all of you have talents, not only values, but not only dedication and service and ethics, okay? But you've also got the integrity and finally the leadership to make a difference in other people's lives. And I think that's very, very important. Not only that, not only with this experience, but everything you've done in your military experience has allowed you to work with people in all professions. Think about that for a minute, okay? You know how to relate to different people, no matter who they are, because you know what it takes to get things done. And you know that the lowest private is just as important a lot of times as the most senior officer in doing his or her jobs. They took a survey a number of years ago, Harvard Law School graduating class, and they asked them this, all you folks about this big, how many people here know the name of the janitor who cleans up this building? Guess how many people knew his name? 0. So the things that you have, the values that you've lived, the experiences you've had will help you when you get out of the military. Trust me on that. The other thing I've been fortunate to have has been a great family. I've been married to the same woman for 47 years. Yes, okay? Please give her a round of applause for that. And it reminds me of her favorite story, okay? And you can relate to this, I think, okay? Senior officer, we'll call him a colonel. He's going back. He married his high school sweetheart. They're back in their hometown, driving around. They stop into the quick market, okay, to get some gas or pick something up. And they see Billy Bob, who was one of their high school classmates. And the colonel puffs his chest up and says, hey, you see Billy Bob over there, dear? He said, if you had stayed here in this town, you'd be married to Billy Bob. She laughed and she said, no, dear, you don't understand, okay? If I had stayed in this town, okay, if I had married Billy Bob, he'd be the senior officer and you'd be working at the Quick Mart. And that's what kept us married. So I would tell you this, again, I think it's important to give back. I think it's important to make a contribution. You got to care about people, and most of you do, because that's what military officers do. You make a living, a lot of times, by what you earn, but you make a life by what you give to others. Okay, you make a living by what you earn, but make a life by what you give to others. You've done a lot of that in your military careers. I would encourage you to keep it up. So I'd stop by saying, please remember to give back all the experience you have, all the training, all the things you've done, and the people you are in your core. Okay, all those core values you have, bring those when you retire, because they're needed. Gosh, are they needed. We need good people doing good things. So in closing, I'd just like to thank the Army War College Foundation, Colonel Collins, and everyone else for this great honor. I am truly humbled. Okay, this is a wonderful event. I really don't feel like I belong in this great company down here, but congratulations to all those members, and thank you all very much for listening.